Oh, can we?
I'm pretty sure we can. I think didn't we do that for a noir?
I think we did. Hold on.
Yeah, I think we did.
Was that on Zoom though?
Yeah, probably.
Let's see. General. No. Layouts.
Nope.
You're live now.
Oh shit.
Oh.
What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome back to the show. Still trying to figure out what I'm going to ultimately end up calling this, but for now, it's still Shopcast, episode 106. This was Mr. Joshua, right?
Yeah.
Your pick? Okay. The Addiction from 1995. Abel Ferreira.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. I read it 5 minutes ago and I didn't forget it. All right. So this is a like black and white art house vampire flick, and I like the people in the movie, so I was pretty stoked to watch it. So what made you pick this movie out, Josh?
I was watching some Abel Ferrara movies. And
Not at all surprised that that's what your answer is.
I watched like 3 other of his movies, and I was like, "Oh, he made a vampire movie, with like Christopher Walken and stuff like."
Yeah,
that sounds like something that would be good for the show. I was like, "Okay, cool. I'll save that one for the show." So that's
right
how it came to be.
Yeah, man, Christopher Walken's the jam.
Also, it was like 82 minutes. I was like, even if everyone hates it, they won't. They can't hate it that much because it's 82 minutes.
The what's her name? Lily
Taylor.
I really like Lily Taylor a lot. I don't know what it is about her. She was in a remake of, what is it, 13 Ghosts? Was that what she was in? I can't remember. She was in an old haunted horror movie from like the late 90s, early 2000s that I saw her in when I was a little bit younger, and I just was like, oh man, I like this chick. Like, it wasn't like an attraction thing. I just liked her. She seemed like somebody I would be friends with.
Yeah.
And so I, every time since then that I've seen her on a film or something, I've always been at least interested in what it was she was doing. And,
I think she's good, and she kind of holds the movie together.
For sure. Well, Christopher Walken is obviously like, why would we not want to watch something he's in?
Yeah. I mean, he's in one scene though.
Dude, I was going to get to that.
It might be the best scene of the movie, but
oh man, I was having a little trouble with it, and I was like, we're at the cello bar quoting Sartre, talking about philosophy. I was like, this movie is about to lose me. And then all of a sudden, Christopher Walken shows up, and he starts delivering those philosophy lines. I was like, oh, snap.
Right.
Well,
here we go. Save my life.
It took me 3 sittings to watch this movie.
Yeah.
And it was 82 minutes long.
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to just shit on it, so whatever.
No, after I watched it, I was like, I probably wouldn't have picked this had I known what it was.
I mean, like, and look, I know this is going to sound extreme, and I don't mean it to, but I don't have any other way to say this, but I literally have like a small list of movies that I call it my Milo list, and this is on that list. I hated this movie.
Really?
I tried to like it. I even like rewound it and watched it from like the get-go again. Like, I was like, all right, dude, I just wasn't in the mood for this thing. Now I know what's in it. I know how to prepare for it. I like got myself something to drink, got some comfortable clothes on, sat on the couch. I was like, all right, boop. And I just couldn't, like, every single bit of it was just, like you said, philosophy stuff I don't really care about. Like, just art
philosophy student. So everything is like, the whole script is like a thesis.
Yeah. And I thought, well, there's going to be people that really like this movie and appreciate it. And I thought, there was a couple of cool scenes that had really great camera work that I appreciated a lot. And then if we get to something like, I unfortunately have a lot of experience with intravenous, drug use and stuff. And so there was parts in the movie where they did stuff like that just looked utterly fake to me. And I thought, you can't even figure out how to do that right. Like, that's easy, man. There would be no giant blood puddle on her forearm. That's just not how that does that, dude. You never been to the doctor and got your blood drawn? Like, it just pulls up a tiny bit and then it stops. Like, make it look realistic. They go through all the trouble of making everything else look great. Like, I didn't understand. I guess it was, it looked cool though. Like, that's the issue that I had with it. Right. My first thought was, it looks awesome. What's up, Hugh?
I like the blood and the black and white contrast. Like, sometimes I struggle with the color of blood is like something that really gnaws at me when we watch these horror movies. I'm like, that doesn't look real. So the black and white really helped me out because I could just sort of ignore the fact that it wasn't, the right shade of crimson or whatever. But it looked pretty banger on the black and white. I really like that about it.
I feel like it's sort of a nod to like. Oh, sorry, I was gonna say it feels like sort of a nod to like the original vampire movies, like a Nosferatu or something. You know, super high contrast.
No, it definitely looked awesome. Yeah, that's actually probably why I was irritated by it, because it did look so awesome. And I thought, and it's a stupid complaint, and only somebody like me would have this, even the knowledge to know that that looks insanely ridiculous. Because to me, it just looked cartoonish to me. I was like, everything else looks so badass. That looks like a cartoon.
I think like that and the cello bar and the philosophy and the black and white, especially, that's where I was like, this is getting a little too.
Yeah.
But it redeemed itself when Christopher Walken came in, I think.
But did it? Because he was in there for like 5 minutes and then he was gone, and he was the guy on the poster. And I'm like, well, because like that's a very irritating thing when you have a guy that's prominently displayed as like in the movie. Yeah. They show up for 5 minutes. It's like one of them cheap B movies you get in Redbox. You're like, oh, it's got Bruce Willis in it, and he shows up to deliver one-liner, and then he bounces, and you're like, oh, that's so it's a bunch of other guys that I don't care about. Now, again, I like Lily Taylor a lot, so I was okay that she was in it, but man, and then wasn't that her professor? Wasn't he in Pulp Fiction?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, and I mean her friend that's
from
the other student,
Sopranos,
Edie Falco, yeah. Christopher Moltisanti's in it, like as the priest for a minute.
Yes.
Yeah, I had the same thought about the blood. Like I said, it was weird because at the same time, it looks cool, but it doesn't look right. But it was shot so good that I guess it didn't bother me that much.
Well, it only bothered me because I know so much about it, and it irritated me because I was looking at that point. I'll be honest, I was just looking for things to complain about because nothing was happening that was making me want to like praise it. I was just like, okay, well, what can I bitch about then? Because otherwise, I'm going to sit here and go, yeah, it was all right, and like, which I guess is okay. I don't know, but I like the people that are involved, so I kind of don't want to just crap on it. Like, I don't know, it's a weird, conflicting feeling that I'm having.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely goes a little too hard on the philosophy stuff. At least doesn't really have much of a payoff or anything. I don't think. If there was
that's really good. They could have improved. They could have improved by making the ending something really. Because like even the last scene, the last big thing, in that little like party, that was a little surprising. I didn't quite expect that, and then it happened. But I was like, it still wasn't very. I don't know, man. It's like they were on a super tiny micro budget or something.
It was like very tiny budget.
It was like 300,000 or something like that.
Well, that explains a lot of their choices then.
Yeah. I mean, I did like the ending, but all the philosophy stuff was just
good, Jake.
Pretty much there for no reason.
It was strange, wasn't it? It felt like it was just like something that he wanted to talk about, so he put it in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he definitely had like something he wanted to say with it, but it didn't really serve any real purpose in the movie, I thought.
Yeah. It wasn't.
There were a lot of things I felt like. Yeah, there were a couple of little things I was like, what is he trying to say with these? Like the mass casualty photos that kept popping in.
Yeah, all the Vietnam Holocaust stuff was odd.
I was trying to connect how that tied in with the whole philosophy of everything. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't really connect for me either. I was trying to figure it out. Like, I don't know. They're killing all these people at the end. I was like, I wasn't sure if it was trying to somehow tie that into.
Yeah, so there's some like good and evil thing that was pretty evil. So.
Well, I think the whole idea that they keep going over and over again is like. Is there evil? Like, do you have a choice? It's a lot of like, determinism types.
Right.
Like, do you have a choice, or are you just born this way? This is just how you are.
Well, as Lady Gaga would say.
Poker face.
Oh man. But well, like, okay, so one thing is that as we've established on this channel, especially with us all talking together, I don't watch movies that way. So like all the stuff, I was like, well, I wonder what they're trying. I don't care. I watch movies to be entertained, and I was just not.
Yeah.
And the thing is that they're like visually, I will say it was really nice to look at. Like I did like the lack of gradient black and white, and it was super sharp most of the time. I really like that. As you can see in most of my artwork is very, very much just high contrast black and white if it's not something I painted. And so I like that style of black and white particularly, and so I enjoyed it visually. I don't know, man. I think part of it was that I fell into this hole of serial killer stuff this week, and so like everything that involved that's in that world is so like bombastic and crazy and big that I think this just kind of was like meh compared to, because I really do think that affected it, because I was watching, like, once we talk about this a little more, I'll tell you what I watched this week, and you're like, oh well, no wonder. Like,
yeah, I'd be interested in that.
But what's going on down there? But yeah, it was just pretty. I'm glad it was 82 minutes, dude, because straight up, I don't actually hate this movie, and I don't think it's anywhere close to as Bad Milo was. But like, it's definitely on the list of movies that I was just supremely disappointed by, but the runtime actually is a massive help, because if it was, say, 97 minutes, that's 15 more minutes of that, bro. That's a lot more time on a movie this slow.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. If it was 10, 15 minutes longer, I would probably come down on it a little harder. But yeah, the short runtime definitely helped it out.
Yeah,
I like I'm always a fan of the street shots, like the street stuff, the street interaction, the shots of New York. I love that. And I think the movie tried to sort of juxtapose street life and like this high-minded life together somehow. And it didn't really work that well somehow. Like, it was like, I try to see where he was going with it. But the interactions with the crowd on the street, and then they're having, cello bar shortly after. And I was kind of like, what's going on here? There's
almost like too many ideas with not enough of any one of them. Like,
that's literally what I was going to say.
Feels a little unfocused. Like, if they would just pick like a couple of like sticking points and been a little more clear with them, I think.
Well, from what I understand, he had like a massive heroin, drug problem at one point.
Yeah.
And so maybe,
really?
Maybe this is like some of the, I don't know, scattered
talking
fragmented
about that,
ideas.
basically.
Yeah, throwing some like personal stuff in there, maybe that doesn't make sense to us, but I guess it makes sense to him, maybe.
No, this is an Abel Ferreira movie. He also did Josh, which other ones did he do that I know?
Bad
Lieutenant,
and there was one other
Driller
one.
Killer,
Miss 45.
Miss 45, yeah.
Driller Killer is the one I was thinking of, but yeah, Miss 45 is one that I need to.
King of New York.
That's the one, King of New York. I was like, there's a bigger one that's not a horror movie that he did.
Yeah,
I like King of New York a lot, but this honestly could be an Italian film almost. Like, it's got a lot of parallels.
I mean, even in those movies that we listed, this is very, very different than those.
Yeah.
Yes,
like it is quite a bit of an outlier in his canon.
I agree.
Yeah, to me, it felt like a Jarmusch movie with not very good dialogue.
Dude, that's a good comparison, actually.
Yeah, it was just super, super arty, but it just kind of meanders. But
there was one part where she said something that, like, in terms of the dialogue, how can you act so glibly? I was like, who in the hell would ever say glibly? Like, I would just
a philosophy student.
Yeah,
you deserve to get bit. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, so I liked a lot of the ideas that they were going for. It was just like the way that they were doing it, like
execution was a little bad.
And it's really dialogue, and most of the movie is dialogue. So when you're like having to decipher all this stuff, and I'm like, I get most of what they're saying, but it's like nobody talks like this. And if they do, I don't want to,
They throw like 9 books in there, like Kierkegaard, Baudelaire, Sartre, Nietzsche. I'm like, dude.
Nietzsche's the only name I recognize out of all of those, and I only know that because of watching movies. So like all that stuff you just said, like somebody like me, I'm not going to even get any of that stuff.
And then Burroughs, because he is
too many
huge heroin addict. They talk about Naked Lunch, but
I've never read anything by any of those people. Like I don't, and I probably should at some point, but I'm not the intellectual type. I don't know how else to say it because I'm not trying to say I'm not trying to be a turd about it or anything. That's not really my bag. And I think I would be.
I was
bored.
I was texting with you about it earlier because I am interested in philosophy, but I've never like studied it in any way. I've never read anything about it. But I do I think about these sort of things sometimes. You get into deep thoughts and like, what does all this shit mean? You know,
what is the meaning of life here? Vampire?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I get into this religious hole, and I think that's why I don't do it, because I don't like talking about it. I don't like thinking about it, because it almost always ends in an argument if you're talking with somebody that wants to, like, because everybody wants to make everything malleable, and not everything is malleable. You can't make it mean what you want it to mean. It just means what it means. And people simply can't handle that. They have to go, no, but in my world, my truth. And so I just go, I'm out. I'm going to go over here and watch some guy stab some dude and just
that is an issue I have with that whole line, because I do think they like to try and mold their own personal feelings and viewpoints with like a lot of high-minded things and a few good points, and they can sort of like craft their own path.
They make it seem like the way that they're doing things is okay because this other person said that this is how you should live, or this is what life means, or whatever. In reality, the guy said this and admit this over here. They're behaving like this, and like you said, they take 2 or 3 good points out of it, and people do that with religious stuff all the time. They go, "Oh, I'm allowed to protest at a ladies' clinic and call these people horrible names because Jesus didn't want babies dying." And you're like, yeah, but also you're not supposed to judge nobody. So go home, let that person talk to God about it. And they can't wrap their head around that. Yeah, but no, dude, you read one line and you took that and made it this whole thing, when in reality you're just not behaving. Like, just be nice.
Yeah, they pick and choose their own philosophies.
It's wild, isn't it? And this is what causes arguments. So
one thing I really thought that kind of struck me was when Christopher Walken was talking about how he was 40 years sober from the vampirism or whatever. And then he said that at one point in time, he went back to sucking blood and killed 12.5 people in one night. And like in my own experiences with addiction, like there were times when I would stop and then I would go back to my addiction, and boom. I mean, it was like a wicked, vicious explosion of like pent up, need. And I was like, dude, that's interesting that he put that in there. And then she ultimately I think she was trying to be sober and be as human as possible, and freaked out in the closet. Had just like the meltdown of the century, and then
when she was like tearing her clothes off.
Man, that was with the Jesus pamphlet. That's what did that.
And then she went crazy and sucked everybody's blood, and I was like, yep, that's what it's like, sort of.
I will say that because Christopher Walken, I'll be honest, dude, by the time he showed up, I was already checked out, man. I was like trying to hang on, and I did catch a couple of things that he said though that caught my attention. I didn't know why until you brought it up, Hugh. You said that the guy, Abel Ferreira, had a heroin addiction. So whenever Christopher Walken's talking to her and he goes like, and I even defecate. Do you defecate? And my brain was like, that's an odd statement. And then I was thinking like, that sounds like something I would say to somebody when I was doing dope. And I was like, now that you say that, I'm like, oh, that's exactly why I said that. Because he was basically making her, the reason that he even put that in there is because he knows if you're a junkie, you don't do that. It completely dries you out, stops you up. You don't get to go to the bathroom anymore. Your stomach hurts all the time. And like, that's what he's equating to her being the addict and him being clean. He's just like, I get to go to the bathroom now. I live normal life. I just thought that was an extremely, again, something that nobody would notice unless they were into that lifestyle. Just like the stupid blood thing. It's these little stupid things that I catch all the time. I'm sure it's irritating, but but yeah, I thought it was odd that he said that. And then when you said, the moment you said, yeah, and he used to have a heroin problem, I thought, oh, that's exactly why he put that in the movie then, because why else would that even come up in his brain to write that down as a thing, unless he had experienced addiction causes this kind of pain? Because, dude, I'm telling you, like, a lot of times when you go to the doctor and you get prescribed pain meds, any kind of opioid, they'll literally give you a pain med and a laxative, dude, because it makes it so hard to go to the bathroom, because it just... that's what it does. I don't really understand how it works other than dehydrating you. I guess that's what it really is dehydration. Oh, it's, dude, I know people that didn't go for weeks at a time, man. Like it's so I can imagine, like, because he was putting all this stuff. It was very clear that she was becoming a junkie. It was very obvious that's what was happening. I'm not that blind to this stuff.
Oh, like, yeah, it's not subtle at all.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, like I was paying enough attention to figure that out. Yeah, but it just kind of, had I known he had some real life experience with that line would have probably got me back into the movie, because I'd have been like, oh wait, this is on a whole different level if I know what I'm talking about. Because I mean, how many movie makers do we know of that make movies that probably don't have very much experience with what they're talking about? They were given a script and told, hey, make this movie. Whereas if you're doing something like this, I'm imagining he had something to do with every part of it, up from the writing on up,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if he wrote it or not. I didn't pay attention to that, but
I think it's a different writer, but he was obviously very involved. Yeah, I was thinking I could see reading this and like not being as annoyed by it.
I agree with that too.
Like almost written down, this stuff probably sounds a lot smarter and more interesting.
Weird?
And then when you say all of it out loud, it just sort of falls flat
pretentious and snobby.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like honestly, if they had just just sort of streamlined the dialogue into something more naturalistic, it would have been so much better.
Yeah, the dialogue seems very scripted. Like it just didn't seem natural at all, like you said. But I mean, look, dude. Overall, would I watch this again? I think I might, man. I don't know that I'd want to buy it, but I do find that there's probably an instance or a situation or whatever where I just want something kind of. I will say this: I don't know if y'all had this problem or not, but I watched it on 2 different TVs, man. The volume was so low.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up on Shudder. I had to crank it up. It was super low.
Dude. I had my volume at like.
Sometimes
80%.
they're like whispering, and it's like, what? What are they saying?
I put the subtitles on because I wanted to see, and I wrote down some of the actual quotes. I really like the movie because I like philosophy so much, and I took philosophy a couple times in college. And I don't know, I have a lot of the books that they talked about. So I was like, man, I didn't feel like I got it the first time all the way. So I was telling Josh, like, man, this is a movie you sort of have to just study on. But they tried to just jam too many books in there, I think.
Yeah,
I don't think I have the patience to study on this. I don't do that though. I don't like with the movies. I'm not gonna sit down and like watch it, pause a little bit of it, read something. I just don't have any desire to do that. And I know that's probably what you would have to do if you're going to go to school for any of this kind of stuff, any of it, like movie making or anything. You'd have to be willing to sit down and repeatedly watch something and, like you said, study it. And I don't know, man. I think I'm just too hyperactive for that kind of thing. I can't sit still long enough. I don't have the patience. I don't have the desire. If it's something I'm really passionate about, maybe, but even stuff I really love, I don't dive like that into it very often.
I mean, if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. I could see, I was watching and I was like, I don't think this is going to be for everybody. I was like, this really is not.
No, yeah.
And I was wondering
like
I honestly didn't think any of us were going to like it.
Really?
I was like, dude, there's no way they like this movie. It's fucking boring.
I did feel a little let down at the end of it, and then I kind of thought on it for a couple of days, and I came around to it more.
I think I was just ready for it this time because I think I have tried to watch this movie a few times because I remember the opening sequence and I remember her getting bit, and I was like, after a while, it lost me, and I turned it off. But knowing that it was Abel Ferrara, I kind of like had a new enthusiasm for it because I just watched Bad Lieutenant, like 2 weeks ago. I think the last time we did a show, I was talking about it. So I was like, oh, this is Abel Ferrara. Like, oh, we'll give it a chance. And I'm pretty fired up about Padre Pio and stuff, but he's always got to, dip some religion into every one of his movies. I feel like there's always a big Catholicism slant. And
I was going to bring that up too. Like the whole end of the movie, kind of, she like is sort of like redeemed. She like admits her sins, and then she like is, I don't know, cleansed.
She sees her own grave.
Yeah, let's say it's almost like she was born again. She faked her death, or whatever you want to call it. Like, when she was looking at her own grave,
communion,
she looked, she looked like she was better, I guess.
Yeah, very, very interesting. I don't know what that is supposed to mean. Like, is that just like saying like God is the answer to, is this just all just her journey of her sin, and now she found Jesus, she found God, and she's all good now? Like, or does like after this movie she go on another bender? It's just like a vicious cycle. It's just
I'm voting on Bender because you live forever,
right?
Not suck the blood. That's a long damn time to not be sucking the blood.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. I think.
Yeah, I didn't want to keep just bagging on the movie because I definitely saw that there was some hard work and thought put into it. So
yeah,
I'm trying to grow out of that. I have enough hatred going on to the Pentatonics people that I don't need to go on to Herrera and his films.
What'd you watch this week, serial killer wise? What got you onto that note?
I watched a bunch of stuff, dude. I watched that whole entire Dahmer thing on Netflix.
Oh,
I watched 2 more documentaries on Dahmer. I watched one on John Wayne Gacy. I watched one on Ted Bundy. Bro, I just fell into this hole where I was like, man, I can't get enough of this stuff because it blew my mind. Watching, you know what it was is that Netflix thing was done so well that it blew my mind. It was like, that might be the creepiest thing that I've watched in years, dude. That have y'all watched any of that?
I have
a little bit of it.
Dude, it'll make you want to take a fucking bath, dude.
Yeah. Dude, it made me depressed. Dude. Like once we when we got into the interviews of all the people in the courtroom, I was like, man, this is sad.
You're talking about the one that was the show, right?
Yeah. They go they're in court towards episode 8, right? And they're prosecuting him for the murders. And all the people stand up and give their account of what the people meant to them in their lives and how they were taken from him by this monster. I mean, it was person after person after person. I was like, oh, dude, this is so sad. I went through a phase of serial killers and I thought they were all cool and stuff. And then
no, I've never thought that.
I was like, man, these guys are assholes.
I'm just, you know what, dude? I guess there is some things.
What a knucklehead.
That I would. Wow. Understatement of the year. I guess there is certain things that I would deep dive on, and this honestly would be one of them, which kind of worries me a little bit. But I think that because I know quite a bit about Dahmer, right? And so there's a couple things in the show that irritated me. And one of them I just found out before I watched it. So when I watched it, I already knew it was going to bug me. And then it did. And I was like, why did I have to know about this first? It's stupid things like in the courtroom in the show, he wears his glasses all the time. But in real life, he didn't wear his glasses. And there's a reason why. He didn't wear his glasses because he's got really poor far-sighted vision, right? And he said in an interview that if I don't wear my glasses in there, I don't have to look at the people that I've harmed. Because he knew that he was evil from the jump. He never questioned it. He knew that. He knew that. Dude, the whole show is creepy, man. I watched the whole thing in one go. I sat down and watched the whole entire 10 episodes. I watched it, went to bed, woke up, finished watching it. It took me all day, but I couldn't stop watching it. I was grossed out by it. I felt nasty. I felt gnarly. That guy, dude that played him, I guarantee you this messes him up, dude. There's no way it can't.
I think it messed up a lot of people in the cast. I think a lot of people had a lot of problems with it.
It's a gnarly show, man. It is
moral and ethical, all kinds of problems.
Well, look at the so I know that the neighbor in the show, she's overdoing it. And everybody's like, yeah, but this is supposed to be really true to life. And I'm like, yeah, but that lady isn't that lady. That next door neighbor is not the one that called the cops on him. She's not the one that was out there trying to get him caught. It was the lady in the building next to his that didn't like him. And the lady next door to him reported a smell, and the lady across the street called the cops. They took both of them and made them one and made this next door neighbor lady like a hero in the show. And it's really not accurate, which again, stupid thing to worry about. But it annoyed me that I knew that was a fact. And it was like, you have to make it like that. You have to make everything fantastical. This story is pretty gnarly enough. You don't need to put bullshit in there. But I mean, if anything can make you want to, I'll tell you this, it made you feel empathetic for him, dude. And it made me sad and grossed out and kind of nauseous. There are points in that show where you feel sorry for him. And if you don't, I'd love to know why. Just because you know what he ends up doing doesn't mean you can't. This kid was completely abandoned by his parents. No wonder he turned out to be like this. His mom was a psycho piece of garbage. His dad just his dad taught him how to like gut animals and do taxidermy at like a real young age, and then just bounced. Like, dude, you can't show a kid how to do stuff like that and then not stick around and make sure they don't do it to everything. Like, come on, buddy.
I think they've proven like psychologically that a lot of extreme serial killers are, you know, sort of genetically predisposed. And like looking at his mom and his dad, it was like the perfect storm.
I mean, yeah, I would say that all three of those things combined to make a perfect murderer.
Monster.
I mean,
yeah.
He definitely, dude, I mean, the thing that bothers me about this is that it's all real. It's like the scenarios are all real. Maybe not every word that was said was real, but like the cops definitely showed up to his house and smelled a dead body and then didn't investigate it. Like, what are you doing? Like, they went in, they brought a kid into his house that ran out the door. He goes to do a lobotomy on this kid and drills a hole in his head in real life, man. Drills a hole in the back of this kid's head who's still alive. And then the kid's like laid out in the bed, and Jeffrey Dahmer is so messed up that he has to drink while he's doing this stuff. So he goes to the store to get some more liquor, right? He leaves the kid there. So the kid kind of stumbles up, like wearing only underwear, runs out the house in the freezing cold. And the neighbor ladies, some other neighbors see him, and they try to get the cops involved. So the cops get there. There's a kid half naked, 14 years old, man, bleeding from the head. They don't even check what the wound is. They would have seen a big ass hole in his head. Dahmer walks up while this is happening and goes, "Oh no, this is my boyfriend. We're doing some BDSM stuff, and he's just really wasted right now." And they took this kid back to his apartment. Didn't even check his name, didn't check his age, nothing, right? Takes him up there. There's a dead body in the next room, and they just leave. And you wonder why he thought it was okay to keep doing this stuff. He probably never thought he'd get caught. Like,
yeah, probably thought he was invincible at that point.
Dude, it's insane. Like, yeah, but anyway, so I'm like watching all this stuff, watching Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy. I watched a whole documentary on both of these guys, like 4-part series on both these dudes, man. Like, I'll be honest, I didn't sleep very good last night. Maybe that's why I'm in a weird mood today.
Man, I'm telling you, it had the same effect on me. I was depressed for like 2 days, and I was like, "What is wrong with me? Is this damn show? Is this?"
Yeah. Well, they made it in a way. Well, first off, the actor was. I couldn't believe this kid acted this well. Yeah. Like, that's the Quicksilver from the X-Men movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I could not believe it, man. It is so like he doesn't even seem like the same person. And he like encapsulated Jeffrey Dahmer in this, and I think it's absolutely insane that he did so well. Like, I genuinely am curious as to how this is going to affect him. I hope he's getting some therapy. I hope he's talking to somebody to get some of this stuff out because he needs to. I mean, I'm joking, but I'm not. Like,
I feel you.
Yeah, but it's
100%.
You know, when you know this stuff happened in real life, like, what does it take for somebody to like get the flesh off of bones and then take the bones and break them up with a mallet and then toss them around your yard? Like, man, that was a person, man. Like, what
I'm real sensitive to smells. Like, could you imagine having that smell around you all the time to where the people down the hall are like, "I'm gonna throw up." Like,
so in the show they acted like the smell was there for a long time afterwards, but apparently I watched on this documentary, one of the guys that lived in the building said that as the police were taking out evidence boxes, the smell was dissipating, and that's how strong that was. And that's how gnarly it is. That they said that once the police were gone, that the smell was almost not even there anymore. And they were like, and that they just thought like, wow, they just took evil out of our building. And then, dude,
peace out. I'm gone too,
bro. I wouldn't have been there. The police would have got there. I'd have done been moved. They'd have been like, where'd that fool go? He moved out the moment he smelled that nasty shit.
Yeah, it's horrible.
And then you have people like John Wayne Gacy,
I hate him more.
Bro, these people like Ted Bundy, man. That guy was out of his mind. Did you know? I didn't know this until today. He represented himself in court.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What kind of moron art? Man, that guy really thought highly of himself, didn't he?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go do all this stuff, and then I'm gonna represent myself, and I'm gonna get away with it.
He was extremely arrogant. Yeah.
Yeah, that dude was wild, man. I watched some like court footage of him. I couldn't believe what I was watching. I was like, this is real. It's real footage of him doing it. I was like, man, he was like standing up and like shitting on his own lawyers. Like, bro, dude. And then like talking to the judge as if he had like, there's one point where he stuffed wet toilet paper in the lock of his jail cell so he could disrupt the hearing. And so the judge is waiting. It's like 9:03. And he's like, "Yo, where's Mr. Bundy at?" And the police are in there, and you can just see their body language. They're like, and this is all like actual stuff, not a reimagination of it. This is the actual courtroom cameras. And he's like, there was tissue paper stuffed in the keyhole, and we are trying to get it out so that we can open up the cell and get him out. And the judge is like, "Was it done from the inside or the outside?" And they're like, "Well, from the outside." So then you see him thinking like, "Oh, well, maybe it wasn't Dahmer that did this. Not Dahmer, excuse me, Bundy that did this." And then the cop's like, No, it was him. And then so they finally get him in. And then he walks in at like 9:30 something, all nonchalant, like nothing's going on. Everybody's clearly pissed off. And like the judge asks him, "Hey, step up to the court. We want to talk to you about something." And so they're asking him questions, and he starts talking to the judge like this. And then all of a sudden, dude, like that is when the tide turned. I'm like, man, had you not done that, you might have gotten away with all this stuff. The judge,
did you see where he escaped?
He's like, "Do not wave your finger at me." He's like, "Do not wave your finger at me." I was like, oh man, that judge is pissed because he's like, back in the 90s, this judge was like 70. This is an old school dude. Like, he might take your finger, just take it. Wait, who escapes? What?
He escapes out of the courtroom and runs like across the country.
Wait, who?
Bundy.
Really?
Yeah, like his first trial where they first capture him, he jumps out the window of a courtroom while he's in holding and steals a car and drives to the woods somewhere.
How did
and
they
they
not
can't
put that
find
in
him.
this thing?
Dude, he gets all the way across the country.
Oh, see, now I have to go find more Ted Bundy stuff to watch. Yeah, I don't like serial killers. I think I'm just kind of
Oh, they're intriguing.
It's hard not to be fascinated by.
Yeah, I'm bizarrely fascinated by them because I'm like, man, like
That
what
stuff's-
makes you want to hurt somebody bad enough to take their life, and then to do it multiple times. I just can't figure it out, man.
Yeah, that stuff's super popular too, man. There's so much stuff out there, docu-series and the stuff like Dahmer that's just like reenacted. Like Megan watches a lot of it, and I catch bits and pieces, but that's not really my thing.
I was really into Mindhunter when that was on.
That show
awesome.
is amazing, and I'm so sad it's not on anymore.
Yeah, I was real mad when they canceled that.
That was a very good show.
So they canceled it, like legit, no more.
I don't think they canceled it. I think they just said they're not making any. And
It's the same thing.
And but not like a Netflix decision. No, I think it was the decision of
really?
Fincher, right?
Fincher and like a producer or two or something like that. Like I've been hearing that they've been kind of maybe talking about it, but nothing concrete. So maybe they'll get another season.
That show was amazing.
I want at least one more season because they were building up. What's the serial killer that they were like kept flashing to?
BTK.
Yeah, BTK.
BTK.
Yeah. They built that whole thing up and they never got to it. So like, fuck.
Yeah, it's like
gotta at least get to that. Yeah. For sure.
I started watching another one. I'm gonna have to rewatch it because I fell asleep, but it was called Sons of Sam. And it's this theory that there was 4 people involved in the Son of Sam killings. And then they like I heard enough to know that like what they're saying makes some sense. I'd like to go back and rewatch all of it, but man, I might have to take a break from this stuff. It'll make you feel gnarly, man.
Mess with your brain a bit. Like
it's the worst of humanity. Like it's it's the absolute worst that there is to offer in this world, I think.
Yeah. I think maybe people that harm children are a little further down the line for me, but not by a lot. That's all
right there.
Yeah, man. Like when you're watching the Dahmer thing, the real hard part about it is that it all happened. So when he's doing something, because the only thing that I know about, because when it first came out, I was like, dude, I'm not watching this, man. Another Dahmer thing. I've already heard about Dahmer. I know a lot about it because I know a lot about Dahmer because I've read a couple of books and I've watched a lot of stuff on these guys coming up in horror my whole life. But somebody was saying like, no, this is supposed to be like the most true to form, like as correct as they can get it. And I was like, surely they're not. It's got to have some crazy stuff that's not that accurate in there, right? So I started watching it, really kind of thinking I was going to confirm my suspicions and then turn it off after half an episode. And he was so good at the acting. And I thought, man, they must have done a lot of research on this guy to get this dude to play him like this. And I just kept watching, and then all of a sudden I'm 3 episodes in, and I was like, "This is insane!" And it just was so because it's so unbelievable. It's just so unbelievable.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, I am curious what you might think. Chris, you said you watched a little bit of it.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of like the first 2 or 3 episodes, something like that.
Well, that's almost halfway
through.
through.
Yeah, it seemed interesting. It just, I said, not necessarily my thing, so I didn't really continue with it.
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean,
not to say it was bad or anything.
No, but it's just, and yes, Jake, he did a phenomenal job. But like
he did, yeah. I didn't know he had that in him.
I didn't either. I thought this could make this dude's career.
Yeah.
If it doesn't mess his head up.
Remember we watched that one movie, American Animals, where they do the heist, the art heist.
Yeah.
And he was in that, and I was like, man, he's really fucking good in that movie.
Dude, I forgot he was in that.
Yeah, he's the crazy, like with the wild.
Dude, I want to watch that again.
That movie's awesome.
That was a good movie. That was shockingly good.
Yeah,
that weird kid that I hate is in it.
Oh, the guy from Killing of the Sacred Deer.
Yes, that kid.
Barry Keoghan.
Hate
Barry Keoghan.
Dude,
yeah.
I hate him, Hugh. I used to hate him. Now I like him. Can't figure out which is which.
He's a weird dude, but
very weird
really
dude.
good.
I think that's why I hate him.
I have a friend who has a theory that love and hate are so closely related that you can bring a woman from hating you into your bed, essentially, because they're so polarizing in terms of.
I guarantee
emotions.
That's possible. I've literally done. That's the only thing that I actually regret in my life is doing that, because I really hurt somebody else in the process of doing that. Unfortunately, we don't always make wise decisions. But the only time I ever cheated on somebody was with a girl that we both absolutely hated each other, and it turned into sex within the blink of an eye. It went from literally the day that I showed up to work and this happened, we hated each other and we were arguing in the back, and 5 hours later we were in bed.
The clothes come off.
I'm telling you.
Where did this happen? How?
Bro, and it was so strange because it turned from hatred to infatuation immediately, dude. It was dude, that's something these people should study. How does that happen? Because bro, what?
That's some philosophy stuff.
Dude, if you'd have asked me that morning, hey, what person do you
Freud shit.
Oh yeah, dude. I was just I was shocked, dude. And I'm like, what am I doing? I'm like, what am I doing right now?
She probably reminds you of her dad or something.
Yeah, dude. Oh, women are wild. Oh man. But dude, you know what's something this is so off the subject, but so last night I guess we didn't set our alarm for this morning or something, and Carissa overslept to get the kids up for school, and so she wakes up at 7:45 and she's like, oh crap, the kids are gonna be late for school. And I said, it's okay, they're never late and they never miss school, you're fine, just calm down. And she's like, okay. She comes in the room, she leaves the bedroom for a minute, and then she comes back in the room, she goes, the kids are gone. And I was like, what? And I sit up. Dude, Frickin' is the smartest little kid I've ever met, dude. He got up, got him and Charlie breakfast, looked at the clock and was like, okay, sat there and waited and was like, okay, went, checked our door, it was locked. Instead of knocking to wake us up, he wrote a little note. We left for school and I locked the door. I love you. Love Brickin'.
Wow.
And he got them to school, locked the door from the inside, closed it, checked it, and then went to the bus and got him and Charlie on the bus. Man, I was in panic mode until we figured out they were in class.
Right.
Wow.
You've been watching all this Dahmer all week,
bro. I'm telling you, dude. Yes. But yeah, man, what a smart little boy. He's only 9. That's
awesome.
Yeah, bro. I was so just elated. I had this pride. I was like, man, my kid's awesome, dude. Because Charlie, if it was up to her, bro, she'd have had breakfast in bed and fell asleep with a cereal bowl in her bed. But and then when I told him about it, I came in his room tonight and gave him a hug and was just sat down and talked to him and said, I'm really proud of you, man. It's an amazing thing that you did this morning. You got your sister off to school and everything. And he was looking at me funny, and I said, what's wrong? And he goes, I don't understand what the big deal is. And I was like, well, you're 9, and most kids 12 wouldn't have done that. They would have just stayed at home because I wouldn't.
My son would have did that.
You know what I'm saying? Well, I wouldn't have blamed him. I said, dude, you know, and I said, you didn't bother me and mom. He goes, no, y'all were sleeping. I didn't want to wake you up. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be proud of with that. I said, man, and he goes, I don't understand the big deal. And I was like, that's another reason to be proud of you, man. That's amazing. I said, dude, 30-year-olds wouldn't have gotten up and gone to school. Like,
for real.
You know, I'd have been like, well, I'm already late for work. Guess I'm calling in. Like, you know. But
in fact, my son did the opposite the other day because Natalie wasn't feeling well, so she stayed home from school, and I got up to go to work, and Nathan was coughing too. I was like, Are you going to school? He's like, are you sick? He's like, yeah. I was like, all right, I'm going to work. And so like an hour later, Tori calls me. She's like, did you tell him you didn't have to go to school? You just stayed home. I was like, no, I didn't tell him that. He said he was sick, but I don't know. So he just stayed home.
Dude, kids are so ridiculous. That's hilarious. Yeah. That seems exactly like something he would do too. I'm not feeling good.
Yeah, that's what kids do.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, right. That's more or less what I thought Bricken would do. But he looked at me like I was the crazy one. He was like, what are you doing, man? No, you wouldn't have gone to school, Dad. I'm like, no, buddy. Your dad is not that guy.
Yeah.
But
Mom and Dad aren't making me. I'm not going anywhere.
Right. It was just really neat, man. I don't.
That's awesome.
Sometimes I just forget how great of a kid I have, man. He's a smart little boy.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Oh man, makes me not want to antagonize the Pentaholics. Do what?
I hope he hears that on the podcast one day. Like, you're old and gray, and he's checking out these podcasts, and he's like,
hearing one day when he watches The Addiction, and then
that'd be awesome.
Well, I can tell you that he definitely hears me say this stuff about him because I say it to his face all the time. But yeah, it'd be cool to hear him hearing me say it to my friends because I am very proud of that kid. I'm proud of all my kids, but I'm specifically proud of Bricken for how much of just a smart, good kid, man. Like, he does some weird shit, but he's 9. Of course he does. He's 9, you know what I'm saying? But like, man, he like, I've often thought, even at 9 years old, like, dude, this kid's gonna outgrow me. Like, oh geez, Louise, Jake, no. We don't need to learn about soggy toast.
Oh no.
But I have thought, like, man, he's gonna get bored talking to me. I've thought about that. I'm like, man, he's gonna get to a point where he's like, what do I want to talk to Dad about, man? All he wants to talk about is horror movies and punk rock. Like, he's gonna be the philosophy student that irritates me.
Exactly.
Kierkegaard says.
I'm gonna go, what is that? Is that in Minecraft?
Right.
Man, kids. Did you guys watch anything else this week?
Do y'all want to talk about Terrifier?
Oh shit, yeah. How much did you hate it?
I mean, it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, you said that and my heart like dropped when you said you watched it. I was like, oh no. I was like, oh God.
I almost didn't say anything about it, but I didn't hate it. I'm like, this is just not my thing, you know?
No,
like,
it's just you're like, yeah, I get why this idiot likes it.
I mean, in a manner of speaking, I guess.
Oh,
when I watched it, I was like, yeah, this is totally a Randy movie. I don't know why this is his favorite movie, but
I don't even have a good answer as to why it's my favorite movie.
Yeah.
I think, what's up, Bill? I think that
I feel like him coming alive at the end is such a cop-out, but
I do too.
You know, it's just like, I don't know.
But I want a sequel, so I'll take it. I think what it is that I don't take the movie seriously at all. It's just fun and crazy and gory and bloody. And I think the fact that I initially didn't like it, when I flipped the script on it, I just liked it more. Because I don't really have an explanation. It's not like it's a, man, I hope nobody takes this the wrong way. It's not like a particularly well-made movie. It's not poorly made, but it's not like some kind of masterpiece of film.
Yeah, I put like on Letterboxd, I put 3 out of 5 because it's competently made.
Yeah.
But
and David Howard Thornton did a great job without using any of his vocal cords. I mean, that's pretty hard to do, I would imagine.
There's a lot of like good, like that is a very like a good idea, interesting character.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a. I mean, you're gonna remember that character. It's like Freddy Krueger or something. It's like just sort of it sticks out.
I think maybe one of the reasons why I liked it so much was because when I watched it, it wasn't very popular. And so it was something that I was able to go, oh, this is mine. I like this. And not many people that I know even know about this. So I was able to share it with people. And just because I'm able to do that. Yeah, you know, like, so just because I'm able to share this with people that I like, it makes it a little bit more important to me. And then I get to like rewatch it and dissect it. And then there was like special things. It just kind of happened at the right time. There was some special stuff that came out that I was able to buy and like have it. And then I ended up emailing a couple people from the movie and they responded. Like all these little things make you like it more. Because dude, David Howard Thornton had no reason to jump on my podcast with me. I had like what, 500 subscribers when he did that the first time. Dude, I had nothing.
That's
awesome. You know what I'm saying? And now he's talking about coming back on in like 5 or 6 weeks. And he's very much a very popular person in this genre right now. So like that is important to me too. And I've had, you know, a couple of talks with other people from the film. And I think that I like 80s movies a lot, but I feel like they're not quite as gory as I want them to be. And this is just like that. It's an 80s movie, but made with modern, you know, I don't know what to call it. Like you do it
sensibilities,
like
I guess.
Yeah, modern sensibilities, and so it's gorier than it would be back then. And there were some things that are like pretty gnarly that they probably wouldn't have done back then just because they just wouldn't have done it. And you know, you
got a lot of reasons why you like that. You listed a bunch of reasons why you like.
Yeah, I never really thought about it to be honest. I just never really thought. I just knew it. I was attracted to it, and was like, no, this is my thing. And it very much represents exactly what Rancid represented whenever I found them. It was something that was mine. I liked it. I didn't care if anybody else liked it. It didn't matter to me. I knew it was good, and it was you know, because like
there's a very punk quality to it.
Yeah. It just really, it's like, man, if I was to make a horror movie, it'd probably be just like that. Like if I had been able to make one in my 20s, it would have been so much like that. It's unreal because I had a real clown problem when I was younger, and I've still probably got it. I think this movie helped me get over it, honestly.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, because
I was thinking he was almost more like a mime than a clown, though.
Right? Yeah,
I like the character. I like the character so much, and I like how perverse the movie is. I know that sounds terrible, but it's just
that's what, dude. I mean, that's exactly like writing his name and shit in the bathroom.
The cafeteria scene to me is so iconic when he just is sitting there freaking people out. I was like, man, I love this. It was,
you know, the first half of the movie, I actually was kind of enjoying. I was like, I don't want to admit this, but this isn't too bad. You know, like it's pretty tense. It's like creepy, and then when it like goes into all the wildness, it's like it feels more edgelordy to me, and it's just like
but it's silly. You know, it's meant to be fun.
So I thought it felt too serious. Like I was expecting the tone to be a little more like silly. Like
interesting. I definitely didn't get that, but I mean, you know,
I think I think it's a good balance of not necessarily campy, but silly enough to where you don't take it too seriously. So I was kind of thinking of like, I know you didn't like The Sadness very much.
Yeah.
And I think they take that very seriously, and it comes off very edgelordy and over the top. Whereas something like Terrifier, it's a little bit more fun. And to me, at least, it makes it a little more enjoyable because you cannot, really worry about it too much.
Yeah, I liked it more than I like The Sadness for sure.
That's good to hear. Yeah. Like with what Chris was saying, like in the part where she stabs his foot and he's like, he doesn't make any noise. In a movie where they were trying to take it seriously, I think they would have had him scream. But the fact that they're like, and don't make any noise, but make it look like you're making a bunch of noise, and he's having to figure this out, and like, and the fact that he does something like break a big slasher rule.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I also like had heard you talk about it enough that a couple of the big moments I kind of already knew about, like pulling out the gun, and like the splitting the girl in half thing. I'd heard enough about that I was like, okay, I know this is coming. Whereas if I had seen it early, and it would have been more shocking, probably.
Yeah, I thought they did a great job with that girl thing. It looked serviceable. I mean, it's obviously not real, but it looked pretty good.
Yeah.
But the gun thing, I like that because, dude, look, if I'm gonna go make a video about a band that I know I don't like just to antagonize their fans because they're so fucking annoying, why wouldn't I like that a director chose to put in a movie that he pulls out a gun and shoots somebody when that is like rule number 1 for slashers? You don't use guns, you use knives or like something like that.
Yeah.
That I was like, that's awesome because it's gonna make so many people mad because it shouldn't. It's a fucking movie. Like, why do you care? But it does make people mad. And the fact that the lead girl dies right in the middle of the movie, you're like, oh shit, what? That's one thing that I didn't see coming. I didn't think she was gonna die in the middle of the movie. I was like, okay, well then what's the deal? And the end of it, I thought I'm still not sure how I feel about the end of it. I'll know more about how I feel about the end of the movie after the sequel, because oftentimes, like, dude, I've come to the point to where with Barbarian, I just accept that I like the movie because the last 2 minutes of it I didn't care for. Whatever, man. I will literally just stop the fucking movie before it's over with. I have that power.
That's awesome.
Right when they stick their thumbs in Justin Long's eyes, just end it right there.
No, I'm not gonna even let it get that far. Already throws her off the building, dude. Movie done.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
movie finished. Right. Then we're done. And that way I can enjoy it the way I want to enjoy it, and everybody else can enjoy it the way they want to enjoy it. So I don't really care about the endings of movies because they oftentimes disappoint anyways. So like a lot of my favorite movies, the endings are just like meh, whatever. I don't care about the ending. It's about the journey, not the destination for me. So we'll see. What everybody keeps saying is like, I want to hear more about Art's background and why. And I don't.
I was totally joking about that, by the way. That was
dude. I mean, honestly, you were like the 5th person to say that to me. So I was just like, fuck, dude, what? No.
Yeah, okay.
I was trying to make it sound sarcastic, but it's hard to do that.
It really is, dude. I can never tell him being sarcastic through a text, but I don't want to learn about his past or why he's like that. That's how Rob Zombie ruined the Halloween movies, man. We learned about why Michael Myers is like that and all about his mom being a this and that. No, dude, just...
That's why I said I bet his parents were real pieces of shit.
You know, like... Yeah. It's hard to imagine that he's even got parents, isn't it?
The only thing I would accept are just his parents just look exactly the same as him. Dressed up as clowns, and him as a baby is just little him dressed up like that. Like
okay, that would be awesome.
And they're all mute. Just a complete mute family. Yeah,
that's the only backstory I will accept to that. Otherwise, I don't want to know.
He started out his murder spree, coming out the womb, killed his mom during birth.
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't want to be. I don't know. I don't think we need all that. I heard it's like, so from what I understand, the sequel is uncut, unrated, and exactly what Damien Leone wanted us to see. That's why it's so long. Nobody intervened. Nobody said take this out. So he made the movie, and apparently, even he was a little bit concerned with the runtime. But he ultimately decided to leave it like it was because he thought it was a better movie than if he did some editing. I think they did some like what do you call it, like test editing where they here let's look at
test
this
screenings or something.
You know, between the group of them, you know, here let's watch it like this and see if it's any better. It's like 15 minutes shorter, maybe get 20 minutes shorter because 2 hours and 8 minutes is a lot better than 2:28 to some people. And I mean I understand the concerns, and so they watched it. Didn't think it told the story right and said, you know what, let's just roll the dice here and we're doing something unprecedented. And I think that's true. So if nothing else, this movie will go down in history books as one that's doing something that, as far as I understand, no other movie's done. Coming in 800 plus theaters, unrated and uncut. I've never heard of anything like that before.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. As long as as long as it's not boring, I think it'll be successful to me. I don't want there to be.
It's not going to be boring.
I don't think so either. But man, that's a lot of runtime, dude. Like, I'm not going to front like does not bother me, man. That's the only thing that bothered me. I saw that and I was like, well, that's a whole extra movie. Like, what are we doing here, guys? Like, you could make 2 movies out of this. This could be 2 and 3. What if it is? What if it is 2 and 3? It's just part 1, part 2. We don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, and I haven't watched any interviews. Oh, by the way, I thought you could tell I was joking too, Hugh, and I forgot to respond to you. I have no idea about some vagina shots in this movie. I haven't watched anything about it, so no, I have no idea.
That's gonna be all penises.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Lopping off penises for 2 hours.
I'm out.
All right, Dahmer.
I'm out.
But yeah,
terrified,
dude. Right? Dahmer had
and monetization gone.
I think that was going a little while back, but
probably.
The Dahmer had a whole like stew pot of penises that he was boiling in his apartment when they broke in and got him.
Yikes!
Yeah, bro. Like, what are we doing, Dahmer? Come on, Jeff, calm down. But yeah, I'm hoping that this is just a fun movie, man. Like, man, I just don't. I'm anxious because that is so fucking long, dude. Like.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to make sure I take a piss before I go in there. I'm not gonna get nothing to drink for the first half hour or so.
Oh yeah,
because I don't want to miss any of it. But I got tickets for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday already. Yeah, I'm going 3 days in a row. So
okay,
damn.
Dude, I will buy tickets as long as it's available, and I don't even have to go to them. I'm gonna buy as many tickets as I can for this movie because I want to support them. You know?
I'm excited for it too. I'm glad we're all seeing it together. And
I'm so glad Josh is going. I know you're probably not as excited as I'd like you to be, but I'm so pumped that you're going. I was almost a little bummed out at first because I thought, man, I don't want you to go and not enjoy yourself, but I'd rather you be there, man.
Yeah, I was debating whether I should go because I don't want to be the bummer guy that's like, I didn't like it.
Watch Josh love it, and Randy's gonna hate it.
Oh, geez. Spectacular camera work, great acting, amazing dialogue, but just not brutal enough. And I'm like, there's only 32 kills in the whole movie.
Only 32.
I know, right? But so yeah, I'm gonna go see it tomorrow night, and I'm assuming I'll go Friday. I know I'm going Saturday with y'all. So man, I'm so pumped, dude. Like, I wish they were showing it more times, but my boss is being all coy with me. He doesn't want to like give me any more information about why they got it. But I've got some other information from some other people that I'm not going to talk about on film. Not on a live stream anyways. But yeah, dude, I feel pretty good about them having it. I'll tell you that much. But
that's cool.
Dude, for like weeks and weeks and weeks, everything I looked up said 700 theaters nationwide. And then Monday, whenever because my buddy ran up to me in the theater and goes, dude. He goes, I bet you're happy right now. And I was like, what do you mean? And he goes, they just announced that we're getting Terrifier this week. And I was like, nah, bro. I was like, I already got tickets somewhere else. There's no way. I've been looking for weeks for this movie up here. They don't have it. And he goes, oh, yeah? And he pulls it up on his app. And he goes, no, dude. Boom. Shows me. And I was like, well, buy a ticket. I didn't even look at what time it was. I was just like, buy. I just bought a ticket. And I was like, okay. So, I hope I can make that. But, yeah, man. So it was very much last minute. But on Monday night, I looked up something for like a different movie. And it had an advertisement. And it said Terrifier 2 showing in 800 plus theaters across the country. And so they must have changed something and got 100 more theaters. I don't really know how they make these decisions, so I don't really know what went into all that. But
similar thing kind of happened with Clerks, because like the new Clerks movie was, just like a limited like 2-day thing, I think, in most places. And I mean, there was nobody in this screening I was in, but supposedly it did well enough in other places that they added a bunch of times. And instead of just 2 days, it was like 10 days or something like that. So I'm imagining that in some locations at least
it did well with testing or something maybe.
Yeah, they sold well enough that they probably added some theaters.
Well, I know that Alamo is a franchise, and I didn't know that until I started working there. The owner that owns ours had, I think Lubbock had Terrifier in it, and he already was aware of the movie. And our GM was talking to our social media guy and said, what else is going on this next couple of weeks? And then he said, well, I'm surprised you don't have Terrifier coming in next week, with it being October and all. And he goes, I know Randall was pretty disappointed. And he goes, Randall's disappointed about what now? And he goes, you didn't have Terrifier. That's like his favorite movie. And he was like, what's Terrifier? He didn't know what it was. And he goes, oh, and he showed him like the trailer of the first one. And he was like, Jesus Christ, this is like his favorite movie. And he was like, yeah. And he goes, all right. And I think that's when he emailed like Big Dog, because I had requested off. Like, I don't work again until next week, and I'm watching the movie. I'm gonna be up there all weekend. So
you'll live there for 3 days.
Well, I told him, he goes, when I told him, I said, man, I'm glad we got it in the theater. And he goes, yeah, you're gonna come watch it? And I was like, well, I've already got tickets for 3 days. And he goes, 3 days? And I was like, well, we only have it showing once per day. And he goes, yeah. And I said, how does that work? And he said, if it does well enough, they'll open up like more showings per day in the following week or something. So I assume it'll be there for like a week or two, and then it'll go on to other, they'll have other things, because they don't only have 7 or 8 screens in the whole place. So I mean, it's not some giant multiplex where they have 30 screens and enough.
Well, and Halloween comes out next week. So
is it next week or is it 2 weeks?
I think it's 2 weeks. I think it's next week.
Oh, well, it's not. No, it's soon. So
it's soon. So I mean, I figured no matter what, like Halloween's gonna kill pretty much any
other horror movie.
Yeah.
But
are we going to that? Are we gonna go see that?
I am. I want to, dude, because look, I don't care if it's bad or not. I want to just make a video about it. I need to talk about it because that's a big one.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that it's better than the last one, but at this point, I honestly don't even give a shit. If it sucks, I won't even be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we're gonna coordinate on this one like Terrifier, but I'll plan on at least seeing it.
If anybody wants to go, I'll go with y'all. I'm down.
I was gonna say if I don't see it with you guys, I probably won't make it because I don't think I'm gonna go on my own.
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna see it on the Wednesday before with the staff.
Yeah, okay.
That's a big one. I'll probably be watching that with the staff.
Well, fine. You got your new friends now,
dude. You know what's weird is that every time I go to the theater on a Wednesday night, I'm always like sitting by myself. Like I don't even sit with everybody else. I sit by myself. Yeah, I mean, whatever. I'm not like. I'm older than all those people by like 15 years, man. Like they're cool and I like talking to them, but I'm sure that they don't think I'm very cool. So I'm not trying to intrude on their good time. I just want to go watch movies. Yeah. But I definitely think about, fuck, I wish my boys were here with me, man. We could fucking just dicks out, man. Let's go. But yeah, I'm hoping that movie's tonight's decent, but I'm not hearing good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on, guys. I might have showed you all this. I think I showed Josh. Hold on.
Oh,
it's not my wiener.
Okay.
So Carissa was cleaning out some stuff that her mom brought down from, her mom's moving out of the country, and in some of the stuff that she brought was some things from her very first job. Her very first job was at a Disney store in the mall, Lakeline Mall. Oddly enough, I worked at that mall, I think around the same time in Austin. Yeah, I don't know if y'all know this. I met her when she was younger, like at Hot Topic. I was a manager there.
Yeah, I think I remember you mentioning that.
Yeah, her mom brought her in, and she remembered me because of all my tattoos and whatnot. But she mentioned it a long time ago, and I was like, "What? That was you? That was so strange." Anyways, she bought some Pirates of the Caribbean stuff when it was like on sale or whatever, and she had like on a play discount. Got it real cheap. It was these like 12-inch action figure doll things. They're real kind of badass looking, man. They're real intricately made and stuff. And Julie is a huge Disney fan. And so I was telling Julie, I said, man, I found these things that Carissa wants me to get rid of. And she's like, what are they? And I told her, and she says, I'm interested in those. And I owed her some money in trade because she had given me a few things and gotten me some like tapes to use for my customs and stuff. And so I owed her like 70 in trade. And so I say, well, let me look this stuff up. She's like, yeah, figure out how much it's worth and then we'll figure something out. And she had something that I really wanted. We figured out that they were kind of valuable. And I said, well, what if we do the 70 in debt and then this other item that you want and just call it square? And she's like, we can do that. And so I got this from her. This is wax packs of Creepshow cards. I don't know what to do with them because this is like $220 and I don't know if I should open it. The kid in me wants to open this and make a video out of it, but the father in me wants to sell it and pay some bills. But yeah, dude, this thing is so badass. And she got something she really loves. I got something I really love. Very rarely do I feel like a trade works out in a way like this. Cause I got like, I called Chris and asked her, do you want me to just sell and give you the money? She's like, you do what you want with it. I was like, all right, cool. And so like, dude, like I've been looking at this at her store for months. Dude, this shit is so badass. When they came out, they sold out in minutes. And then they were like 60 something bucks a box. And then they went up 200 something immediately. Yeah, they're fairly limited. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, inside is the potential for like original actual artwork. Like people got the blank white cards, drew on them, and signed them, and then they got put into the packs. So I don't know. I feel like I might regret it if I open them, but it sure is badass to just look at. This thing is cool, man. I never get cool shit like this.
That's cool, for sure.
But yeah. Hugh, is it your week?
It is.
Wow.
And I figured I would do one for the ladies.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I'm picking Freeway.
Magic Mike.
I'm picking Freeway, 1996 movie with Reese Witherspoon and Kiefer Sutherland.
I'll give you one guess what other movie I watched this week.
What?
Freeway.
Did
you really?
Yeah. We can pick it. I don't care. I'll watch it again. It's a good movie. Dude, that shocked me just now. I was like, really? Like,
I don't even think I've heard of this movie.
Really?
And I appreciate you, kind of corresponding with me on the idea because I was a little worried it wouldn't fit the genre. But
we don't have to stay glued to horror. We generally kind of pick horror or horror adjacent stuff. But I mean,
yeah, no, I definitely appreciate it. But I felt like there is one sort of disclaimer that I want to give. there is a slur.
The movie's not
in
very
the movie.
good, guys. It's in black and white.
No, there's a slur in the movie, and so like I don't want anybody to get offended by that.
Wait, hold on. You don't have to apologize for that. We're grown-ups. If people can't handle a movie from 1995 and not expect some kind of weird stuff in there,
well, I think you need to consider the context, like who she's talking to, her age, the fact that it's 1996. And sort of her status as a person. So just and then they'll sort of expound on it later on. So don't like get offended, is all I'm asking the audience here.
If you're offended, please don't come back to this channel. Like straight up. No, dude, that's not no. We watch a movie from the 90s, bro. You ever watch Pulp Fiction? Don't be offended when Quentin Tarantino says some wild shit in that movie. Dude, whatever, man. It's just a movie. Like if you drop some crazy shit on the show, I'm like, dude, what are you doing, bro? Like, dude, like stop. But like a movie from the 90s, bro, they said some dumb shit in the.
No, I love all people, so I just wanted to give that disclaimer.
I love people too, and it's real easy to figure out when you don't love people. So if people can't figure out that I'm not that kind of person because I watched a movie that had it in there.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I know. Josh. Yeah. Josh just watched for the first time, and I've been kind of curious about it because I've never seen it. But I'm halfway through The Craft, and there was something in that movie that when they said it, I was like, really? Somebody watching me? Like, that's bad.
Man, every movie after about 2005, like anything 15, 16 years ago and older, they've got, I mean, like, the thing about it is that while do I condone that kind of talk? No, dude, you don't hear me say stuff like that about anybody, man. I'm not, I may be antagonistic. I'm not mean, and I'm sure as shit not any kind of ist. Like, I'm not racist. I'm not sexist. I'm not any of that stuff. I don't have time for that shit, man. But I'm also not an apologist. I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm so sorry because I made your feelings. No, dude, like, life is tough. Life is a rough place. It is what it is. I don't do anything with intent like that. Like, I'm not doing something to negatively affect anybody. Movies back then, they just said wild shit. I think now we're too safe now. Like, they just asked me the other day at the theater, hey, what do you guys think about, my boss specifically asked me, I was early to work. I thought I had to be there at 5. I had to be there at 6. So I was like an hour early. We're down to one car right now. So Chris had to drop me off, and I was super early. So I didn't know where to go. So I was just sitting at the bar listening to stuff on my phone. And she said, hey, how do you feel about us screening Tropic Thunder up here? And I was like, they're going to let you? And she's like, yeah, it's one of the ones we can pick. And I was like, that's surprising, but I would definitely come watch that. And she's like, why is it surprising? I'm like, have you ever seen it? And she goes, yeah, I've seen it a couple of times. And I was like, and you don't think there are going to be some people that are butthurt about some of the stuff that happens in that movie? And she's like, I mean, yeah, but oh well. And I was like, oh man, I like you way more now. Like, yes, oh well. Like it's I don't think
it's a great movie.
Well, I just don't think there's any room in this world for people to be that upset about a movie that's that like we spoke different back then.
And it's a comedy. Like, it's a joke. They're spoofing people that are like,
well,
serious.
There's like, I'm hearing like I've heard some stuff that they're trying to get that re-released on, it might be 4K or it might even be Blu-ray.
Yeah. Kino's putting out.
Okay. 4K. Oh, Kino, then it probably won't have anything chopped out of it. But I was hearing they were having some stuff taken out of it on the further releases. So like, if you see it on DVD to buy it, because that's the only way you're going to have to watch it in its entirety. But if Kino's doing it, I suspect that they'll make it.
It's completely cut Robert Downey Jr. out of the movie. The movie would make no sense.
That would be hilarious.
But they just CG'd his face white.
That would be even more funny, actually.
That would be funny.
But
George
Iron Man. He's just wearing the Iron Man suit the whole movie.
Oh man! Or they just have Denzel like over him the whole time.
Never goes full special needs.
I mean, that movie is crazy, wild, offensive if you think about it, and that's what's so funny about it. But like, I don't know, man. I think that it bums me out that you felt the need to have to apologize in advance or something like that, dude. I don't give a shit. It's just something you shouldn't have to do, man. Like, I appreciate that you're kind enough. Do what?
You didn't make the movie.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I appreciate that you thought that far in advance, but like, man, this is not the place for that. If people come to this channel, like, we're just here watching movies, man. And I'm not saying like you have to be some kind of asshole to be here. I'm saying you can't be a sensitive little whiny baby to be here. Like, there is no room for that shit, man. It just isn't available. Like, just go somewhere else and watch a different channel if you're gonna want to be like, make sure you tell everybody how wrong the N-word was. We all knew that was a terrible word to say. Like, did anybody say it was good to say that? No, crazy person. But yeah, Reese Witherspoon, awesome.
It's a great movie.
Super young and good looking in that movie too.
Cool. I never heard of it.
What really?
No.
Yeah,
Josh, you never heard of it either?
It's sort of a sleeper. I talked to a lot of people about it, and they're like, "Nope, never heard of it."
I kind of thought that one was. I mean, it was so weird because I literally watched that movie 2 days. What's today? Wednesday? Yeah, maybe it was Sunday. Might have been Sunday night. I watched it, but just a couple days ago, it was on. I was on
Amazon.
I was on Tubi, I think, and I was watching something else, and it just came on after it. I didn't actually like pick it; it just came on, and I was like, "Oh shit, I haven't seen this in forever." And I watched it. I honestly would have thought all three of you guys have known that movie was. It's a good pick, man.
Yeah, I'm down for sure.
Oliver Stone produced.
We don't condone the language they use in these movies, okay?
Josh is a big Oliver Stone fan.
I'm a huge Oliver Stone fan. Absolutely.
Are you really?
No, not at all.
No, please say no.
No. No.
That's hilarious. All right. Cool, man. Anything else we want to go over before we leave?
Nope.
It's been
all
fun.
right, everybody. Watch Freeway. If you want to watch it with us, we'll be watching it. It's on Tubi, I believe. Let me check if it's anywhere.
Yeah, it was all like on a bunch of stuff, like Tubi,
is it on? Okay,
Amazon
cool.
Prime,
Nice.
Shudder. It's like on a bunch of stuff.
Perfect. So if you want to watch it with us to chat along with us next week, we'll be watching that. I think we have Thursday available. Oh shit, no, I don't. Monday's my only available night this week.
Okay.
That sucks.
I'll be ready.
Okay.
I can do that.
I just realized that because I don't know if Thursday's available because I don't get my schedule till Tuesday, so I won't know if it's available till after Monday. So I say we shoot for Monday if that's cool with you guys.
I should be able to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. Hopefully pretty soon I'll be getting the schedule changed. It'll be a little more permanent. We can get back on a regular schedule. But everybody that's watching, man, we appreciate you. And if you're offended by words, I am too. It's okay. Have a good night. Have a good week. And go watch Terrifier 2 at the theater this weekend.
Yay.